Hey guys, Theinsidecuber here. Today, I'll be reviewing the Yuxin Little Magic V2 Let's get into it. Alright, so let's have a look at the specs of this cube. We see, under the center cap, we've got an adjustment system. It's very hard to see. I'll try and get it so you guys can see it. You can see these little bumps along that wheel on the outside of the screw. So that's there's numbers on that wheel. So we see this has 12 adjustment settings for the axis distance, which beats the RS3M 2020. And I think it's actually a really cool idea that they went with 12. It's also a really good way to balance out its flexibility. Now, this puzzle is very, very flexible, and some people might view that as a pro, some might see it as a con. I'm kind of neutral. I think it's quite beneficial sometimes, the flexibility. With corner cutting and whenever it's misaligned, it just cuts through really nicely. But the other side is that because it's more flexible, if you're a more aggressive turner, then this can often lead to catches, only minor catches, but they can still put you off your solve. And the corner cutting is quite snappy, so it can be a little bit distracting during the solve. But I personally haven't had many problems with it. I had to adjust my turning style just a little bit because I do have quite a bit of an aggressive turning style. But yeah, this cube is really, really good. And I think with setup, I think almost anybody could get used to it. Now, there are a few things to keep in mind with this cube. One thing is that it is quite noisy, noisier than most other cubes on the market. I'll give you a listen to see how it sounds. Now, this does have a little bit of lube in it, so that does dampen the sound quite a bit. So that's probably quieter than what it'll be like out of the box. Another thing is that it does have problems with spring noise. Now, I had to put quite a bit of lube in the core to dampen the spring noise, and it did eventually work, but that's just something to keep in mind. Some people don't view it as a problem. Others can be a bit distracted by it and can find it a little annoying during their solves. Now, there is another question that comes up. How does this cube respond to lube? Well, depending with what lubes you use in it, it responds very well. I do have a setup tutorial, which I'll link in the description. But what I mainly use in this cube is Mystic, Silk, Celeritas, and Angstrom Dignitas. Now, it does sound like a little bit of a complicated setup, but I find that it works really well with this cube, especially how it's so flexible, and it also makes it stable and smooth. It really complements the attributes of this cube. This is a really solid cube and a great option for beginner to intermediate cubers. Alright, well, the big test whether a cube is good is how it performs during solves. Now I'm going to do 3 solves and they'll just be hand scrambles. So enjoy the solves. All right. So after those solves, you could see I did fairly well. I'll tell you what I average. I average about 16, maybe 15 on a good day, but usually 16 to 17 seconds. So those solves were really quite good. And that 13 at the end was, or currently is, my best solve caught on camera at the moment. So I'm quite happy with that, especially while just trying out the cube, and it worked really, really well. So in review, I definitely recommend this cube to any beginner, even to an intermediate solver. I'd say once you're probably sub 10, then that's where I'd kind of think, okay, maybe it's time to switch up your main. But anything from 1 minute to 15 seconds is, I think this is main worthy. Especially if you're looking for a good cube that's not going to break the bank. I think this is a really solid option. And I think if you've tried the RS3M 2020, it's a lot more stable and a bit slower. But out of the box, this cube comes a bit tight, so I loosened it, but it is incredibly fast and flexible. But that can be fixed by lubing and changing the center travel, which I do in another video, which I'll also link in the description. But yeah, I think this is a really good cube. Even though it is a bit older, I'd recommend this to anyone up to sub 10. So thanks guys, thanks for watching my video. Please smash that like button if you enjoyed it. And also please subscribe. It's free and it'll help my channel out a ton. I'm aiming to reach 50 subscribers by March. That would mean a lot to me if you guys could help me get there. And also look out in the future, because I'm going to be doing a budget cube comparison video. So that's another bonus. If you subscribe, you'll get that notification, so you won't have to look out for it. But until then, see ya.